welcome back to another episode of the PS2 Collector. I am your host Gaming1994, and as always I'm going to show you my PS2 collection. And as you know, I'm on the hunt to collect every single PS2 game ever released. So at the moment we are currently on 80 out of 4,376 games. I'm going to add the total value of how much spent on the corner below. So on this episode there's going to be a bit of controversy as well as a Japanese exclusive. You don't want to miss this. Stay tuned. The first game I'm going to quickly get off the bat is shovelware, and it does not get more shovelware than this game here. A fishing simulator, Lake Masters X. A fishing simulator. I won't recommend this game to anyone. You have to be as crazy as me to collect every PS2 game. That's the reason why I even have this game. But if you do enjoy fishing and there's no ponds or rivers nearby, the next best thing will be this fishing simulator. Only cost £1. You can't go wrong. And that, my friends, is game number 81. Game number 82 is a sports title, and this game was going to compete with EA Cricket 2007, and for me personally, I think this game gave it a run for its money, and that is Brian Lara International Cricket 2007. So on the front cover is Brian Lara, one of the greatest cricketers of all time. His highest score is 400 not out against England in 2004, and it's a record that still stands here 20 years later. Unbelievable. But as the game goes, this game does have licensed team, and one thing that I do give credit for, it has scanned faces to add more realism into the game, and this game was on par with the EA series, which is quite phenomenal. But this game did do well to get a series, and after that was the end of the Brian Lara cricket series, and unfortunately the sequel did not do as well as the original, and that, my friends, is game number 82. The next game is a bike simulator, and the expectations was all over the charts basically, and that is game number 83, Riding Spirits for the PS2. This game only cost me £1, and if you look here it says quite simply GT3 on bikes. So basically they try to tell us that this is the bike version of Gran Turismo 3. The audacity to put pressure on yourself by comparing it to Gran Turismo. You better back it up, but unfortunately this game got mixed reviews. I do give credit for one thing, it had over 100 licensed bikes. Absolutely, and the graphics were absolutely phenomenal for its time, but the gameplay, it's rough. When I was playing this game like a couple of minutes ago, it was clunky as that. It looked a bit weird, which I'm not a fan of. But yeah, the only reason why I recommend this game is due to the licensed bikes and the amount of attention to detail that they put into this game. You've got to give them credit for that. But the gameplay is flawed. It is not, and I repeat, it's not the great Gran Turismo 3. Absolute abomination the way you're comparing it to that game. Disgraceful. And that, my friends, is game number 83. Game number 84. If you do enjoy air warfare and World War II games, this game is a huge recommendation. And that is, I do enjoy this title, game number 84, Pacific Warriors 2 Dogfight. That title there sells the game on its own. But yeah, for me personally, when it comes to World War II games, I enjoyed the Medal of Honor series, the Call of Duty series, as well as Brotherhood of Arms. On the PS2 there were so many World War II games, it's unbelievable. But when it comes to air warfare, I'm not a huge fan of it. I would give it a go, don't get me wrong, I will give these types of games a go, but it's not my cup of tea. But if you do enjoy them, try this, you won't be disappointed with them. Look at the back, the graphics look absolutely phenomenal, and it's made by Random. Random is famous for their graphics. But yeah, only £1. That's, my friends, is game number 84. Game number 85. Last week I was shown a game called Stuntman. At first I thought this was a sequel, but in fact it's a separate entity and a separate franchise, and it looks absolutely phenomenal as well. And that, my friends, is Stuntman Ignition. This game was developed by THQ. At the time, THQ were releasing absolute bangers such as Smackdown Eagles Pain, Smackdown Shut Your Mouth, as well as Smackdown vs. Raw, etc. Those games were absolutely legendary. So if you got THQ on this, I'm buying it. I've not played it as of yet, but the front cover alone is absolutely phenomenal. If you see there's a Lamborghini and a truck exploding, and if you look at the back, it goes to create movie stunts. Now that itself sells itself, and it's similar to Burnout Crash Mode, if you remember that. But yeah, only a pound, don't get me wrong, only a pound for a game made by THQ. You won't be disappointed. That's all I can say about that. And that, my friends, is game number 85. And the next game, this is where the controversy starts. So when I first bought this game for £8 on eBay, I was expecting this game to be the white label. But what I got was, unfortunately, and I was very annoyed about this, was the platinum version of Ratchet & Clank 3. Now Ratchet & Clank 3 is one of my favourite Ratchet & Clank games of all time. I normally did have the white version, but that got lost over time, unfortunately. So I wanted to buy a new one. So on eBay they were showing the white label as the front cover, and I bought it. I was expecting the white cover, but what I got is the platinum version of this game. So I'll give you a quick lesson. So the platinum version is equivalent to greatest hits in America, as well as the best in Japan. So this game, with the platinum edition, it gets a platinum cover, a platinum disc, and a manual with no colour. Now, when this hunt started, the plan for this hunt was to get the original copy of the game. The game had to be the white or black label. But I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Does this count as part of the hunt? I'll leave it all up to you. But at the moment, I'm going to put an asterisk on game number 86. Up to you guys, but back to the game. Ratchet & Clank 3 is one of my favourite Ratchet & Clank games of all time. This is where I think Ratchet & Clank peaked at the highest level. After Ratchet & Clank 3, games such as Gladiator and the PS4 and PS5 games, they do not hold a candle to this masterpiece. Ratchet & Clank Crack in Time, however, does come close. But wow, this game I remember playing for the first time, defeating Dr. Nefarious. That was an epic battle. The last stage was absolutely chaos. I got the Rhino, you know what I mean, the Rhino, the pretty new one. I got that and destroyed Dr. Nefarious with it. Memories, man. But yeah, this game only cost me £1. Not bad for a legendary title. That, my friends, is game number 86. Speaking of Ratchet & Clank, game number 87 is another PSP port. Is it the greatest Ratchet & Clank game of all time? I don't think so, but it's a decent title, especially on the PSP. That game is, and I've spent quite a lot of money on this, Ratchet & Clank Size Matters. Originally, this was a PSP game. It then got ported onto the PS2, and with a lot of PSP games, when they do get imported onto the PS2, there's loads of issues, and the main issues are the sound, the clunky graphics, the controls are not responding properly, and it does not emulate well on the PS2. But however, recently, a couple of days ago, this game got a re-release on the PS5 with trophy support. And with the PS5 version, there is a bit of sound issues, but it runs really well. There's no clunkiness, the graphics are not glitchy, so yeah, it runs really well on that. And I would highly recommend, especially if you're a trophy hunter and you're a big fan of Ratchet & Clank, give this game a go. The price for it, however, was £25, especially because it is a late PS2 game and it did have a limited print. Those prices do get inflated, unfortunately, because of that. But yeah, that, my friend, is game number 87. game number 88 is one of my favorite Nickelodeon shows of all time, and I never knew, now call me crazy, but I never knew it had a game, and that is, again, THQ, always do me favors here, Nickelodeon's Avatar, The Legend of Aang. So I originally paid £10 for this. I was surprised that it did have a game, because I was looking through the list, especially on the A section. I saw Avatar. I thought, hey, Avatar's got a game, and I never knew about it. Bloody hell, it never got promoted whatsoever, and it was developed by THQ. At that time, if I knew that this game was out there, I definitely would have bought it. But yeah, I'm definitely going to give this game a go. If you do have memories about this game and you want to rate it and you want to recommend it, especially recommend it, leave it in the comments below. I'm going to give this game a go 100%. And that, my friends, is game number 88. Tell me.
You ready?
I'm doing it now. The next game, unfortunately, it's an underrated game because it does get overshadowed by its successor, and that is WWE SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. When this game first came out, I was expecting it to be similar to its original series, SmackDown 1, 2, and Just Bring It. Those games were decent, but not mind-blowing. However, SmackDown Shut Your Mouth was a sign of a new era, and it was a sign of the times. This game got a fresh new paint. The graphics were absolutely phenomenal. The entrances, the flashes in the crowd, absolutely phenomenal. And the entrances with the belts, especially the belts. If you compare the belts in Just Bring It to Shut Your Mouth, night and day, you can tell they spent a lot amount of time with this game. Another thing I did enjoy about this game is the animation. So after the match, if you do win, you get a choice to be respectful, do a taunt, or kick the shit out of your opponent. It's up to you. And the memory, especially now with season mode, I remember on TV they were doing the draft. This is when the roster was overstacked, so they put them in two separate shows, Raw and SmackDown. So when I was playing season mode, I chose SmackDown. And I remember when I first saw season mode, I can do free roam in the locker room area, and I can engage and talk with wrestlers who were there at the time. And yeah, I can even go to shops and buy my own unlockables or movesets and things like that, and a cave pass. But the freedom in season mode was different, and I was surprised that they got rid of that in Here Comes the Pain. Here Comes the Pain, they just give you an area of which starts backstage and the truck area and which wrestlers are out there. But in Shut Your Mouth, I wish they added that element into Here Comes the Pain. And another thing that made this game really, really good was the overstacked roster. You got Brock Lesnar, you got Triple H, you got Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, Roman Reigns, Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, Big Show, Kevin Nash, X-Pac. My word, the roster is absolutely goated. And again, if you're a wrestling fan, you've not played Shut Your Mouth, give it a go. I'll call this game a lighter version of Here Comes the Pain. Here Comes the Pain took what made this game great and added the necessary improvements that they needed. But this was a foundation for that. Underrated game and forgotten, unfortunately. But yeah, that's game number 89. Only paid £3 for it. Brilliant. The final game of this video, the main event, if you will, is a Japanese exclusive. Now, when I say this game is very hard to find, because keep in mind, it does not even have a Wikipedia page. Imagine that, a game that does not have a Wikipedia page. Now, this game is a Japanese exclusive. It's a visual novel, and just before I show the game, I'm going to explain the visual novel aspect of it. So in Japan, visual novels were absolutely popular, and it was selling like hotcakes. Unfortunately, they could not emulate that success of visual novel games from Japan to the West. So visual novel games mainly stayed in Japan. And the game in question is Dead Connection Limited Edition. Now, when I first got this game, I looked at it. The price I paid for it is £20. £20 for a limited edition sealed PS2 game. So what I got with this game was the sealed game, the audio soundtrack, and guess what? And I'm a big fan of artwork, yeah. The artwork for this game. Now I'm going to show you the artwork. Look at this. Absolutely awesome. Just look at the characters in the game, what the story is, what the background is. And unfortunately, since this game was very quiet and very hard to find, it does not have fans translation. I really want to play the fans translation of this game because this game is all in Japanese. What I get from it, it is got a Japanese background, and just look at that. Just look at it. Absolute seal. £20 for a sealed game. You cannot go wrong. But as I was saying before, I would love to have fans translation because this game's in Japanese, and unfortunately I cannot engage within the game because I really want it to be in English. But for what I paid for it, sealed, limited edition with the soundtrack, 20 quid, bargain. And that, my friends, is game number 80. So guys, I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more content like this, please subscribe. If you want to know when my videos are live, click on the bell below. Anyways guys, until next time, and don't forget to subscribe. Take care.